You know what time it is. Buckle up and enjoy the ride.
And we are live. Greetings to our loyal WFYL listeners around the world. Welcome back to your Philadelphia live stream, only on the Freedom Station. I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in once again, because you still have the right to hear and the right to be heard. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mike G. As always, with me are Philly Chris, Russ the producer, and Liberty Lee. And you're listening to Mike G in the morning with The Law Matters. And you can listen to our program every Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern, only on the Freedom Station, WFYL. So let's be heard. I want to remind our listeners that you can participate in the free and open exchange of thoughts and ideas throughout the entire week by visiting MikeGinthemorning.com. What's it called, Philly Chris?
MikeGinthemorning.com.
How about you, Russ?
MikeGinthemorning.com.
Liberty?
MikeGinthemorning.com.
You can check out all the shenanigans that Mike G and Philly Chris are up to throughout the entire week, and check out our social media profiles. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. So tell your friends, tell your family, tell your barber, tell your Uncle Jerry, tell anybody who will listen to check us out at MikeGinthemorning.com. I also want to remind our listeners about the powerhouse lineup we've got here at the Freedom Station. Kick off your mornings with Scott Adams. Bring you the Scott Adams Show weekdays from 9 a.m. until 11. We've got Dan the Man Bongino. Bring you the Dan Bongino Show weekdays from noon till 3 p.m. We've got the headliner, intellectual giant Ben Shapiro. Bring you the Ben Shapiro Show weekdays from 3 to 5 p.m. And finally, we love having him at the Freedom Station family. We've got Michael Knowles. Bring you the Michael Knowles Show weekdays from 5 to 6 p.m. So don't forget to tune in and show him some love. And with that, you know what time it is. Buckle up and enjoy the ride. Hit it, Russ.
You know what time it is. Buckle up and enjoy the ride.
So we've got a couple of very special guests joining us on the program today. We've got Rita Whitaker who's joining us. And Rita is what I call a repeat offender on the program. She has been here before. You know what that means, Rita? You're officially on the list. You're not going to be able to get into a single restaurant in town. You know that, right?
Oh, no.
They're going to have a photo of you on there. You say you were on the Mike G in the Morning program. Stay out of here. We've also got Rachel Gerstenberg with us. Rachel, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So, Rita, why don't you remind our listeners a little bit of who you are and what you do?
Yes, I'm the founder and executive director of Life Turning Point of Philadelphia. And at Life Turning Point of Philadelphia, we provide an 18-month Christian residential transitional housing program for homeless women and children.
And Rachel, for our audience members who are unfamiliar with yourself, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about who you are?
Yes, I'm Rachel Gerstenberg. I'm originally from the Poconos, and I, moved to Philadelphia 2010. I'm a mom of two. And I'm just so thankful for the place that I'm at and able to reside for right now.
You said you're originally from the Poconos?
Yes. Yep. Hazelton, Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay. The Poconos, they said that's become the sixth borough because so many people are leaving New York and heading over to the Poconos. And I guess there were too many New Yorkers for you out there, so you had to get out of there, right?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I escaped from New York myself, so I can sympathize with the people out there. So, Rita, what's been going on in your world? I know that you're always busy. There's no shortage of what's going on with all the good things you have to do for people. Why don't you give us a little bit of an update?
Yeah, sure. So we actually reopened our doors to moms and kids in January of 2022. And we are actually, one thing that's very exciting is we have two moms that are about to graduate from our program and get permanent housing. So as I said, our moms stay with us for 18 months. And while they're with us, they have case management. They get counseling. They have mentors for the boys and mentors for the moms. And so two of our moms have gone through the program, and they are actually about to get their housing probably by the end of April, beginning of May. So that's really exciting that we're going to have our first two graduates this year coming up.
That is amazing. Rita, with
Yeah.
things being so politicized in the
Mhm.
world today and everybody choosing sides and everybody wanting to disagree, it's important for people to come together and have discussions about very specific things that we can agree are a good idea. And I think that everybody, if we point to what you're doing and see what you've done for so many people in need, I think everybody can agree that that is a good idea and that's something that everybody should be getting behind. Do you notice that a lot of times people have a hard time focusing in on the more specific things, which are really the more important things?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's crazy because even in some of the churches, you would be surprised when you share with them about what it is that we're doing. And oftentimes they want to send us to the government to help
Mm,
support the ministry. And I'm like, okay, well, we all know that the Bible says the borrower is servant to the lender. So if that be the case, then if we start getting government support to run this ministry, then the government can tell us what we can and can't say because now we're taking
right.
their money. So it's amazing how, yeah, even the church to a certain extent has lost sight of the fact that the Bible commands us, the body of Christ, to take care of the poor. The Bible says that pure religion before God the Father is this, to take care of orphans and widows in their distress. And it seems like we've just forgotten that. And we're so busy, I guess, trying to, I don't know what we're doing, but yeah, the government is not the answer.
Mm.
Christ is the answer, and his people have the answer. And so that's the message I'm even trying to get across to the churches, believe it or not. So yeah.
That seems these days like a novel idea that maybe the government doesn't have to be involved in literally, but people need to get in there and get involved and contribute if that's what they want, if they want that independence. So, Rachel, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you met Rita?
I had an interview here about a while ago, like when I, first went through, struggles about 5 years ago, and then I became, more stable. I stayed at a different shelter back then, and I didn't choose to come here. Actually, I don't think that I met you then, though, Sister Rita. I think so, though. I think I might have seen her then, but I did have an interview here about 5 years ago, decided not to come here. And then, I ended up getting my house, like and I was stable for a while. And then once again, I believe that I ended up with the interview here for the second round of, I didn't ever think I would end up in this situation again, but I did. And it was a blessing, to actually come here, compared to my last bit of like what I went through in the past. It was a lot worse than like how I ended up here. So yeah, like I lost my apartment in September of last year, like the end of September. And then I was able to stay with my friend that was really from my church, Redemption Heights in Overbrook. And I was able to stay there for about 2 weeks, week and a half, and then automatically I got, placed into this into Life Turning Point, which was like really amazing, like that it actually happened when it did, because I was ready to go the other route that I had to take, which is to go downtown and, like check yourself into Cherry Street, I think it is, and go through that process of like not having a permanent place that you can come back to every day. You have to go find a shelter per night up until like a month or 2 months it would take for you to get placement. And yeah, that's how I ended up meeting Sister Rita, is just coming to, accepting it this time, like, okay, I'm actually ready. And this is actually a very good situation for me. So I haven't been like on a scary ride of this at all. It's like, it's seriously like just placement, like in protection. You know what I mean? It was just like I was placed here. So yeah.
So I don't know that a
I'm
lot of people who comment on these sort of things really have the opportunity to sit down and speak with somebody who's been in the position that you were in. What did
mhm.
it feel like, whether it was last time or this time, when you really don't know what's going to happen, you don't know where you're going to go? What does that feel like?
Mm.
Mm.
Very like confusing. And it's like you ask yourself like, geez, like what did I do wrong? What did I, man, you feel like a failure. You feel, you know, questioning yourself, like questioning your abilities in life. Like, yeah, and it doesn't feel very good at all. But as you think about, you know, what you can do to shape up and do better, and for me, it was like more like I need to like work, like and earn more in my focus and my habits. Like I had to change some of my habits. I was taking my kids to school. I was, you know, had a nice apartment. I was taking care of my apartment, cooking well, but I wasn't working like and making enough. Like I was doing Uber, you know, with my kids here and there, but I wasn't focused on making enough. And like I also, you know, was dating someone that we were having trouble and was unfocused at that point, was like also smoking a lot of pot, like marijuana, you know. And to be honest, I know this is a Christian channel, but I was doing that and I wasn't focused, you know, on my, I was in that state, you know what I mean? And it goes by quick, like when you're paying rent and then he's behind, I'm behind, and it goes by so quick to think about that, like, wow, I could end up in this situation like quickly back. And any of us really can, like that are not really like working, like that are making paycheck to paycheck and you don't have enough saved, you don't have support around you. It's important for us to have support in families and to have that connection because a lot of, you know, my family is in the Poconos still, my mom and my dad, but they have a situation that, you know, they have a small apartment. My parents, you know, have mental illness and they're disabled. So it's not a good situation to be up there. But thank God my brother is up there at least, but there's little space, you know. So
Hmm.
thought about getting a tiny house and going in their backyard, you know. But I mean, that's not a bad idea for real.
It's,
But you know, this is
I'm
a
I'm
more
thinking about it too. Trust me, the way the world
yeah.
is right now.
I mean, that's really the ultimate like goal is to buy land and to, you know, build my house eventually. But right now I need to like really be thankful for where I'm at and like just be like gather my marbles again, basically, and set myself straight. And this really does give you like a good foundation so that you can take off correctly. And I can get my headspace right. I'm like, you know, and all the services that they do have here, like it really does help you like with setting your like resting. You know, I've suggest resting when you're going through stuff like that as well, and not rushing out to go back at it and to fail again, you know. And that's the great thing about being here, that they are able to give you time. And people might say like, oh, and I've thought of it too. I was like, this is not a program that is also like going to help pay your way, you know, to give you a new house and to give you, but it has you think and it gives you the skills and the knowledge and the time necessary to allow you to go ahead and do it on your own, which does help with your confidence and does help with you like your life skills. Like I'm 33, like I'm a grown woman, you know what I mean? So I do need
Hmm.
to step it up a little bit, no matter if I'm a single mother or I'm not, you know, but I do need to like stay focused and yeah, just focusing myself with God first and like not being clouded with the smoke and not being clouded in a unhealthy relationship so that I can, you know, really focus on my priorities, you know, getting my credit right, getting back on a schedule of actually earning a certain amount so I can afford my rent and so I can hold my own 2 feet. You know what I mean? Like so I can I don't know how it was what I was giving in that hold my own 2 feet, but hold myself up, and by myself because
Sure.
I have a lot of responsibility and my parents even well, first my kids need me and I also need to be there for my parents as well. So it's a
A
serious
couple of
situation.
interesting things there. A couple of
Yeah.
interesting things you said there. First, a lot of these government programs, like Rita was talking about, they'll give some people financial assistance and think that that's going to cure the problem. That's really a band-aid. It's not addressing the root cause. And it sounds like what Rita's doing over there is really addressing the root, because the goal is for you to be able to thrive and flourish out on your own. So it sounds like Rita's really onto something. Rita for president, in my opinion. But I'm trying. I said I wasn't going to get political. I said I wasn't going to get political, but you're too good, Rita. Another
we need
thing,
it now,
Rachel.
though, like tomorrow. Yeah.
Tomorrow, yeah, instantly, a special election.
Yeah.
Another
Yeah,
thing you
we've
mentioned, Rita.
actually told women when they apply to our program that when you come here, you have to work. You have to get a
Mhm.
job. You have to save 50% of your monthly income. You'll get all that back when you move out, but you have to work. You cannot be in this house all day, laying in bed, doing nothing. You have to work. And we've actually had women walk away because they don't want to work.
Mhm.
And it's okay,
Mhm.
because if you don't want to work, then this isn't the place for you. So our goal
Rita,
is to help women achieve economic self-sufficiency.
is that not a biblical principle, Rita?
That's right. The Bible says if you don't work, you don't eat.
And the Bible tends to get it right, right?
Pretty much. Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty
And
good
and
track
that's
record.
yeah. Yeah, and that's why, all of our classes here, we use the Bible as our textbook for everything that we do, because that is, like you said, the Bible gets it right every time, so rather than this person's opinion and that person's opinion, we go straight to the source of truth, which is the word of God. And we very practically teach these women what the Bible says about parenting, about finances, about life skills, about emotions, all of it, relationships, everything, because God has the answer for everything.
I
And he
want to
doesn't
go
fail.
back to some. I want to go back to something that Rachel mentioned, because you were talking about the use of marijuana, and you said, "I know this is a Christian station, but the reality is that Christian station, that's what people are going through, and
Yeah.
there are a whole host of issues. It could be marijuana, it could be heroin, it could be opioids, it could be a lot of different things. There could be people selling their bodies out there on the street during these dire
Absolutely.
times, and or selling drugs, doing lots of different things. And for Christians to avoid those conversations simply because we believe there are sins involved, I don't think helps people who are in those situations. There's a church I attended in Oklahoma, and the pastor got wind that somebody was chastising people who came in because they were doing XYZ in their lives. And that morning, he went up to the stage and he was on fire. He said, "If I ever hear about anybody doing to that somebody else, how do this is a church, and what better place for a sick person to go than a hospital?
That's
Uh,
right.
we're
That's right.
going to have people who need to be here. We're not here because we're perfect. The fact of the matter is, nobody's perfect. And when Christians try to pretend to be perfect, they're sinning because they're liars. That's that's another
right.
issue, right? Because nobody's
Yep.
perfect. There was one perfect person who walked on this earth, and he was around
That's right.
2,000 years ago. So, Rita, I'm sure that everybody that you encounter has these sorts of obstacles in their lives that they're going to have to overcome. Is that correct?
Absolutely. 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 And like you said, that's what we're here for. That's what Life Turning Point is all about. It's about helping people. All of us have issues. All of us have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. That's all, means all, everybody. And so, we're here as staff. We have had our issues. Some of us still have issues, but we are working together to get better. We're here as a family to help these moms and their kids to pull through and to make a better life for themselves.
It's beautiful. Now, Rachel, do you have any sense of where your career is going to go in the future? Do you have any goals in mind?
Yeah, I'm actually working on my album, my EP that's coming out. I'm doing a single very soon, so I'm just focused on my music. And I would like to go back to school eventually for vocal performance. I'm more like in the arts, like I used to, be in medical and stuff, but right now I'm just assistant manager for Rita's, ironically Rita's. Um, but yeah, at Rita's Italian Ice. So I'm just doing that, and yeah, I have a lot of goals in my life, based in the arts though mainly, so just working on that. Yeah.
I think the bottom line is whatever it is that you do, do it to the best of your ability,
Hmm.
regardless of what the role is. There's no role that's insignificant if you do it to
Hmm.
the best of your ability. If you treat it like it's that important and you treat it like it's something you want to take pride in, then there's nothing that's insignificant. Uh, and I
So,
think that that's where people go wrong is they treat people who work in certain roles like their job doesn't matter. Well, you'll see how quickly it matters when you get somebody who's not taking the job very seriously, right?
Mhm.
The bag boy at the grocery store when he puts the
Mhm.
cantaloupe on top of your eggs and they're all crushed. You're gonna see, you're gonna see why you want a bag boy who takes his job seriously.
mhm.
Chris, I want to bring you in on this because you've got a lot more life experience than I. Do you notice that? And you worked in a high-powered corporate environment for many, many years. Did you notice that people in that role kind of treated people poorly in different types of roles?
Yeah, unfortunately, there is a bit of a trend there, Mike. Yeah, it's a good point. I guess fortunately, in a lot of ways, come from humble beginnings. I never really starved. I always had food on the table. Had great parents, but it wasn't like we were rich or anything. But I've been around some of those people, and they, sometimes it gets in their head. It's a part of being the, human, the human condition. And but I don't, I always hate seeing that. So I think that sometimes those struggles really do make you a better person in the long run. And I can see that in you, Rachel, with what you shared, and I really enjoyed what you said, and it was very interesting to hear you talk about how you came to the program, and then you knew you weren't ready, but then you came back when you were ready, and obviously you're having a lot of success as a result. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
And I
awesome. To answer
also
your question.
see, thank you.
Yeah.
If I could just say something too, I also see in it too, like how, it is different, this program from a lot of the other programs that are, and don't get me wrong, there are great programs out here as well. They just, from my experience, like the ones that I was a part of in the past did not really like give me the skills.
Mm.
They would have financial classes here and there, like at not gonna say the name, because I don't want to deter, have any energy on anything else, you know what I mean? But it is a program that does not give you the skills that Life Turning Point is going to be
Hmm.
giving, and then that you saw that in my personal life, because I actually like thought I was good, I was doing great, and then my habits didn't necessarily change. Like a lot of my habits did not change
Mm.
from the prior time that I, struggled in the past. So no matter how many jobs I've had and stuff, it's a lot of working from paycheck to paycheck and not really like
Hmm.
holding the skills and the habits that I need to like really like have it down pack, like, everything to a T in order to stay afloat, especially when
Sure.
you're working a day to day, I mean, a paycheck to paycheck type of job.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I used to be an EMT back in the day, like,
Mm.
but then
That's
I
awesome.
ended up leaving and um, I came to Philly, a long time ago. I was just starting to pursue like music after I left doing EMT like out of high school. So, yeah, I've thought about going back though. EMT is a great position, but I just didn't have enough play in that. Like I was about for a year out in the field, and I did clinicals for most of my high school life at Milton Hershey School.
Awesome.
So yeah, but those skills like that I've grown like from even Milton, because I went to Milton Hershey School, which is a famous like boarding school, like with Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
The boarding school that's correlated with the Hershey Park and whatnot, which that really prepared me a lot for my life. But moving forward, I just saw myself, you know, really not taking the scholarship that I got and using it to my fullest, you know, and I ended up wasting my scholarship, unfortunately. But I ended up with 2 beautiful kids. You know, life in general was like college. Like I feel like I have a degree there, you know, so.
What was it
But
that kind of derailed you, Rachel, when you look back at that? Because I've heard really good things too about the Milton Hershey School. What was it,
Mhm.
if you look back at your own personal past, that kind of
Yeah.
got you off the rails? What happened?
I started, you know, partying in college. I was on the step team in college, and they weren't, well, yeah, we would party a lot, go to the club, even if it was, I went to college in Williamsport, PA. It was not like a big city, but it was like, you know, I was out there clubbing, then I started smoking, and then I ended up coming to Philly and just being a free little artist. You know, I used to have dreadlocks. I used to sing in the subways of Philly. So
I used to have
that to
hair.
me, yeah. That's
We don't
hilarious.
believe you.
Right. I have pictures somewhere. Yeah.
But yeah, like,
Uh,
but yeah, that's me not staying focused and, you know, just living life. Like I wanted to find myself after, you know, high school and whatnot. And then I ended up, you know, making really bad decisions in my life, you know, like dating the wrong people, going
Yeah.
through, you know, domestic violence in my life, not having support, guidance around me, not staying focused,
What
you
would
know, and not
What would you do when the people closest to you tried to intervene?
intervene with
Like if
like,
they tried to like talk to you and say, you know, I'm sure there were people in your life who really cared about you, and maybe they were like, you know, Rachel, you got to change the path you're on, or try to shake it out. Like, well, how would you respond to that? Did you have
yeah,
that happen?
um,
You know what I mean? Like maybe some friends or family who kind of approached you and maybe you weren't ready.
somewhat, yeah.
Okay.
It's a very lonely world out here for me. So
I got
I've
you.
not really had
Maybe you
that,
didn't have
you
that
know,
support.
like
Okay.
to people to hold me accountable for certain things. And I also am very like headstrong, like, you know what I mean? I feel like that's why I'm really headstrong too, is because I've really been guiding myself in this, you know? And there are some beliefs, you know, I like in the past, I wanted to make sure I was there with my son when he was first born. I didn't want to put him in school. I was a breastfeeder, like, you know, one of those hippie, like non-vaccinator people. Like that's me all day. It's like, no, but for
I'm
real,
right there with you, so that's good.
yeah. So
Me
I'm
too.
just like, I'm trying to be free, but at the same time, we live in a capitalistic system. But along with like, because regardless if we didn't live in a capitalistic system, we would still have to work on the farm. We would still have to do
Right.
work, you know? So I do need to like pick up my strap. You know what I mean? I need to work, you know? And that's what God is showing me. And even if it's in, my work will change eventually, is what I see. You know, right now I'm doing assistant manager for Rita's, but like you were saying, like the bag boy as well, like I'm taking pride in every position that God has me in each chapter that he has me in. And I know I can direct myself as much as I want, but I know that I want him to direct me. I want God to direct me in my life. And yeah, like I don't want to just, I am very passionate about my art and where I'm going in my life. But I want to make sure that that's also in alignment with what God really wants me to have, you know, and be and offer to the world, you know, as well. So it's something I really take serious in my life. And I just want to be directed by God and not be directed by my lower self or, you know, the devil, you know, and a lot of that time it, you know, we're humans, we make mistakes and whatnot, but it's also allowing and not having self-discipline, self-direction, like allowing that negative spirit to come in. You know you're sinning, you know you're doing something wrong, you know you're not focused, and that's where it comes with me, where I need to like, all right, you're not gonna smoke today, Rachel. Like, it's a major pothead, you know what I mean? I smoke a lot, excuse my language, but
Mhm.
I would smoke, and I'm a free, spirit, and I like to like sing, I like to be, you know,
Mhm.
free, but it would make me feel free and whatnot, but at the same time, I'm not necessarily free until I, have God liberate me and really like live off the land that how God really truly wants me to live.
Mhm.
Like he gave us everything that we actually need if we just like take away all our wants and look at just our simple needs. Like, I don't know, the whole simple living, theme has been in the tiny house. But if you really think about it, like we don't need all this extravagant things that we want. You know what I mean? It's like I actually like I'm cool with like a couple pairs of shoes here and there. Like we want all these things, but it's like my
Yeah, less
purpose
is
on
less is really more. Yeah,
It
yeah.
is.
it is.
And my work that
Uh,
I'm doing here on earth is actually more important than the things that I can acquire on
Yeah,
this earth.
yeah, yeah.
That's another thing that I'm trying to, care about myself a little bit more and care about the things that my children, I want to have good things as well, but it's very important for me to like have good character in this world, teach my children that, and to, you know, do good work here and good deeds,
Mhm.
and sometimes that just comes with just being poor, like, because it naturally, like, it naturally comes to you. Like, I can sit there and it's like, God already knows what I need at any time. And I know it's like, well, why did that just happen? You might think, and it's like, ironically, you didn't have to tell him what you needed. My friend brought me over the house yesterday from church, Emily, and the leftovers that she gave me yesterday actually helped me a lot today. And she didn't even know that I needed that.
Mhm.
But God knew I needed that. So yeah, it's just, I'm really thankful.
It's interesting that you talked about simplifying things and everything. When you really think about it, though, because you've been giving us a common theme throughout what you're talking about, how the major change that you're making has to do with discipline, making the tough decision to not smoke, making the tough decision to, okay, I'm going to go to work and I'm going to be on a schedule and things of that nature. Even if
Mm.
you simplify things down to the bare bones, life is going to involve doing things that you do not necessarily want to do in
Mm-hmm.
order to be where you be. And whether that's
Absolutely.
getting out there and exercising when you don't feel like it, whether it's choosing to eat the right thing when maybe you don't feel like it, if it's going to work, even if you love your job. I mean, Rita, I'm sure that, as much as you love what you do, there's days you don't feel like going to work.
Yeah.
I don't care who you
Mhm.
are, what you do for a living. Even if you're a professional musician, Rachel,
Yep.
Yeah.
there are going to be days where I don't feel like being in the studio for 10 hours today. I don't feel like doing
Right.
X, Y, or Z. Uh, uh, but that's what makes it special when you succeed. Because if it
Mm-hmm.
were easy, it wouldn't mean anything. It would not mean
Mhm.
anything. You'd have no sense of accomplishment. And God sets things up a certain way for a reason. Every
Mm-hmm.
time we question what God's doing, I just picture him up there laughing, saying, I've only been doing this for 40 trillion years, kid. Like, you think I don't know what's you
Right.
think I don't
Just
know
a little
better.
while.
Uh,
Yeah.
so, Rachel, I know that you were on a time restriction, so I'm going to let you go. But before I do, is there any way for any of our listeners to follow your music and the things that you're doing?
Mm.
Well, I go by Rasha Love. So you can follow me on Instagram. Like, there's a few videos. It's not up there just yet, but I will be releasing a single this summer.
Cool.
Called Make It All Right. So that's coming out. Rasha Love Music. That's RASHA Love Music. And that's my Instagram. As of right now, I have a couple things on my YouTube channel, Rasha Love, but I really am not promoting those songs. I'm trying to revamp my whole production right now. So
Well, let us know when that all comes to fruition, and we'll have you back on the program. Okay.
okay, absolutely. Thank
Thank
you
you
so
so much
much.
for joining us, Rachel. Rita, if you don't mind sticking around for a few minutes, I got a couple of follow-up questions for you. Is that okay?
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you,
See you,
Rachel.
Rachel.
Thanks, Rachel.
So, Rita, what she was talking about also reminded me of your story, because you were talking about how you had this, comfortable, stable job, and life really was good.
Yes, it
And
was.
God was telling you that you had to take this leap and go do this thing, and people thought you were out of your mind. Now, when you made that decision
25 years ago.
25 years ago,
Here I am.
yeah, you'd hardly believe it. Yeah, he looks so young, but 25 years ago, you
No,
made that
you should see the back of my head, all the gray. You wouldn't think that.
Hey, you still have hair. It's not fair.
I would still think that you were just being fashionable and you did that on purpose. So, but when you did that, there had to be a sense of urgency inside of you as far as work ethic goes and things of that nature. How, hey, I really don't have room to mess this up. I really got to step on the gas and not let my foot off the gas in order
That's
to
right.
make this thing work, because all of my eggs are in this basket. Does that accurately describe what you were feeling at that point?
Absolutely. Yeah. And like I said, my family thought I was crazy because at first I was, talking all this stuff about Jesus. Then next thing you know, I'm quitting my job and forfeiting my pension and moving into a homeless facility without being paid and having to raise my own support. But God is good because, as they watched, they could see the fruit of the ministry that God had given me. And like I said, and ultimately ended up becoming the director of the program. And, then the program got shut down, and that was in 2019. And then we reopened as Life Turning Point. And it's been quite a ride. I was telling somebody recently that I feel like, you get in the pool and you look at the sign on the wall and it says 3 feet. And you keep swimming, and next thing you know, you look and it says 12 feet.
Right.
And your feet can't touch the bottom, and you're just out there. That's where I am now. It's been a total, restarting this ministry has been a total leap of faith. And, I'm trusting him. I mean, what else can I do? He's proven himself time and time again, and I'm just going to keep trusting him to keep doing it. And, hearing girls like Rachel, if how one woman that's one of our alumni,
I think we
and
lost you
she
there for a
helps
little
her
bit. Rita,
moms
can
to
you
buy
hear us?
houses.
I'm
Mhm.
sorry. Can you say that one more time? We had you break up for the last like 20 seconds or so. So if we could just say
That's
that again.
okay. Yeah, no, I was saying it's really cool because, all the craziness and everything, it makes it worth it because we have an alumni who completed our program and she's a realtor. And so what she does is she comes back. She was homeless living here. She became a realtor, and now she comes back and helps our moms to buy houses. And so it's really cool because
That's
she's working.
incredible.
Yeah, so she's working with one of our moms now. Is going to be a first-time homeowner, and it's because of an alumni who used to live here, who was homeless
That's
and is now a
awesome.
realtor.
We
So
need to have
this,
her on.
yeah, that would be great. That
We
would be
should have her
great.
on.
So, yeah, yeah. This is the kind of stuff that we do,
Right, right.
So, and like Rachel said,
Now,
it's just it's a lot of hard work and discipline.
Mhm.
DG says when you put God first, the devil likes to turn your life upside down.
Hmm.
It
Yes.
seems that's one of the things. It's a recurring theme that people, when they start to go in that direction, they
Yeah.
start to get attacked. Right? There are
Oh
things that
yes.
Well, he
could
didn't say it would be
easily
easy.
I'm
discourage
telling
people.
you, when I got on this road to start this ministry, Life Turning Point, I have been attacked like never before. I have never experienced some of the things that I'm experiencing now. It has been absolutely crazy. It really. Yes.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
hey, greater is he that's in me than he that's in the world. And that's just what I'm standing on. I'm just going to keep standing and keep trusting and keep believing and keep praying and keep pushing. And
But
again, Rachel is worth it.
the program could not have been as successful and could not continue to be as successful if that were not the case. And here's why. Because in order to get this started from scratch the way you did, in order to sustain it the way you have, you've had to exhibit a number of different qualities. One being discipline, because I'm sure you've had to work tons and tons and tons of hours and not take the day off when you didn't feel like it for many, many years. But
Mhm.
another is persistence and perseverance, right? The fact that
Absolutely.
you've gone through all these tribulations and you've had all these things happen to you and you've had to endure them. And by doing that and sustaining those things and coming out on the other end, it shows the participants in your program that they've got
Yes.
no excuse not to do what they need to do, because
Yes.
Rita's not asking us to do something that she wouldn't do herself.
That's
And
right.
that makes a big difference. It's very easy
Yes.
for someone who didn't put that work in and has really had this cushy life, and everybody deals with their own struggles and everything. So I'm not really one for pointing fingers at people and saying, you know, it was easy for them. Look how great they've got it. But when somebody's not been in the trenches the way you have and this sort of a thing, it would be easy for them to dismiss them as not being able to relate to what they're going through. But the values that you're trying to teach them and that you're telling them they need to have, you've shown them. You've led by example, and I think that's important for people coming in, isn't it?
It is. It is. It's extremely important. Yes. And what I've shared with the
So,
women, you know,
so
my
Rita,
testimony, they can't believe it. Yes.
I want to get the website one more time, so that way we could post it into the comments over here, and everybody can know. So why don't you give us that website?
Sure. It's ltpphilly.org. That's L.
ltpphilly.org.
Yes.
And if people want to, if they go, will they be able to contribute to the cause? Maybe donate a few bucks, things of that nature.
They can, yes. Just click on the donate button or click on the giving tab, and it'll give them instructions to give through PayPal, Zelle, send a check to our ministry. And if they want to volunteer, you know, they can give our office a call. If I can give the number, if you don't mind. The number to our office is 215-826-7810. That's 215-826-7810. They can call to volunteer, you know, to come in and work with the moms, the kids. We're always looking for people to come in and help us with the ministry as well.
And for anybody who's watching on the YouTube channel, I've posted both the website and the telephone number in the chat so people can call. Rita, what about if somebody's been court-ordered community service? Can they give you guys a call?
Again,
I'm going to send you a bunch of volunteers.
There we go.
I might know a few people.
they gotta have child clearances.
Okay, all right. So only minor offenses. Somebody gets a couple of DUIs, they can give you a call, maybe. Get them in there. You never know; it changed their life. We're gonna have people lined up around the block. Every single one of my clients and Rich's clients, we're gonna steer them right over to Life Turning Point, and Rita's gonna have an army of volunteers. They'll be on their best behavior, I promise. Because if not, they'll have to answer to me, Rita.
Tell them I'll chaperone them down there, Mike.
Chris is going to chaperone. Maybe we can go down there. We can volunteer. Maybe
we do need to do that.
Yes, we'd love to have you. That would be wonderful. Yes.
We'll get a special promotional video for Rita and everything.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
That. So Rita, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you setting us up with Rachel. It was great to hear her story as well.
Yeah.
And really glad to hear that everything's going so great for you. I hope that we can have you back again, and then you'll be a double repeat offender, and you really won't be able to get into any restaurants around town.
That's right.
Yeah, we have to have the two girls on, the alumni that came back and helped the other girl to buy the house.
Yes,
I would love 100%. To hear her story, because that's the whole, you know, that's where.
And guess what? Guess what? The woman that became the realtor, she came to us from prison.
Wow.
No
Wow.
So
way.
she was got out of prison. Her and her husband got locked up for some stuff. She can come
Okay.
on and tell her own story.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
she came to us from prison
That's
and
awesome.
worked the program, graduated from the program, became a realtor, and now is coming back and helping our moms.
Awesome.
Then we can certainly send you volunteers for court-ordered community service. If people have been
Mhm.
helped out in the program, then why wouldn't they not be able to volunteer?
They
Right?
have.
Mhm.
They
As
have.
long as they got the clearances. We're
Yeah.
going to set you. Also, DG made a recommendation in the comments over here. DG says we could all volunteer and take our community back. So maybe we'll
Yes.
have a
Mhm.
Mike G in the morning day where you got a bunch of volunteers come on out, not just Philly, Chris, and I.
Absolutely.
Rita, this is
That would be wonderful.
sounds
Just
like
spend the day
lot
there
of
and then do
fun
the
and
show
for a
or
very
something. We
good
could
cause.
do the
That
show
would
on
be
location.
wonderful. We
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
love that. Let's do it.
And we're
Let's do
gonna
it.
and we'll put on a musical performance and we'll take donations for Rita's program.
Yeah.
Love it.
This is gonna be monumental, Rita. You know that, right?
Yes. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Sounds great. All right, we will be in touch. Thank you so much for joining us, Rita.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Rita.
God bless.
All right. God bless you.
God bless
Bye-bye.
you too.
Take care.
Yeah.
For those of us just tuning in, you're listening to Mike G in the morning with The Law Matters, only on the Freedom Station, WFYL. You know, Chris, you and I had spoken about this recently off air. We were talking about how difficult it is to have political discussions or discussions about issues with people you know or on the opposing side politically. And when you see a program like Rita's, it really does highlight why it's important to have discussions about individual issues rather than, the more broader, less specific, this side or that side sort of thing. Because I think
Right.
everybody can agree that what she's doing is a good idea. Maybe they are not exactly sold on the idea that the government isn't the solution for all the people
Yeah.
who are in those situations. But
Right.
regardless of whether you think that at the macro level, it should continue, it shouldn't continue, it should be scaled back a little bit, I think we could all agree that what she is doing over there is a positive thing for the community. It's a positive thing for people on the individual level, don't you think?
Yeah. I mean, I was really taken back, a bit during the conversation and just listening to her and seeing the, her struggle and when she was getting emotional and just really taking it all in, still thinking about it. It's very, really powerful what she's doing, and I just wish more people were able to do that, but she really did give up everything to make it happen, but how many people actually do that and can do it,
And I was trying not to make it political because instinctively you want to go to
Yeah,
as
sure.
somebody who leans right, you want to say, oh, well, this is all done by design by one particular party who
Right.
got people dependent upon the welfare state
Yeah.
and keep people in this cycle. And once they're dependent, you say, okay, we're the savior, got to continue to vote for us so that we could keep you fed,
Mhm.
that sort of thing, instead of people getting out of that cycle and ultimately
Right.
becoming self-sufficient, which is really that's got to be the most satisfying version of life, is being self-sufficient rather than dependent upon the government, doesn't it?
I agree. She has a glow about her, actually. I noticed that when you were talking to her, and especially when you were focusing, in on that aspect of her life, you could see how happy she is doing what she's doing. And, what better life is there when you're happy, you're working hard, but you're happy and you're positively impacting the people around you, so that there's a lot to be said for that, Mike. Yeah. And, I know we like to joke around on the show and the world's a little crazy right now, but that was very emotional for me in some ways, because I know some people who are struggling out there on the streets of Philly. I see it all the time, and there's too many people who are just not making it, they're not getting the help, and there's not enough people out there providing the help. I think, like you just said, it makes me sick to know what you said is true, where they'll keep people down. They'll give them, free food or wealth, whatever, and not help them get out of that just because they want their votes so they can live a fat and happy life. Right. It's disgusting.
I feel like this is a perfect moment to tell people about the Philly Chris pull string doll. It is in development. We have a new product that is going to hit the market. It is the Philly Chris pull string doll, and every home should have one.
This is new to me.
And when you pull the string, it says one of the famous Philly Chris phrases. And this would have been a perfect moment for it, because after you said that, I wanted to pull the string, and when you go, it goes, this is all by design.
Yes, sir.
That's
is
one
all
of the
by
Philly
design,
Chris
right?
catchphrases, is it not?
It is. And I mean it when I say it. The vast majority of things are by design.
We should have the audience write in, and anybody
Yeah.
who's listening or watching, if you have a favorite Philly Chris phrase that you want to be included in the Philly Chris pull string doll, you got to let us know, and we will choose the top ones in the development of the Philly Chris pull string doll.
I'm honored to have a future pull string doll, Mike. Thank you.
Yeah. We were working on a Russ the producer pull string doll. Unfortunately, we made it too accurate, and it doesn't work.
It doesn't work. you pull the string, and nothing happens.
It doesn't work.
Oh man, I'm under the weather today. I'm going to start coughing real hard.
You should have made it snore.
Well, there you go. That would
We
work
have-
too. Yeah.
We have
yeah.
the Liberty pull string doll. It's invisible, so you really
Right.
you can only hear it.
You only
You
hear
only
it. Yeah.
It's
You can
the,
keep it anywhere. That's
the Liberty
Oh,
pull string doll.
that's funny. I needed that laugh. Thank you, Michael. Yeah.
Um,
And Denise,
are-
I'm definitely going to take you up. I'm sorry. I was just scanning through the comments there.
it looks like the audience is really looking for a Mike G in the Morning volunteer day, some kind of gathering. So we'll have to start to put that in the works, particularly now that the weather's getting warmer.
Yes.
Be a more opportune time to get outside, do something somewhere.
I think it would be great. Get down there and maybe we can do some landscaping or projects, whatever they
Yeah, I
need.
wonder what
Yeah.
kind of help they would need. That's a good
Yeah.
question, right?
I could reach out to her. I know your schedule's pretty crazy. I could reach out to her tomorrow and ask her
Yeah.
what they would need, and then we can plan something. Yeah. Get our loyal fans down there and make a difference. A little small difference, right?
It's like that old George Carlin joke where he said that people come over to you at a funeral and say, if there's anything that I could do to help, please don't hesitate to ask. And he's like, call him on his bluff. Say, yeah, show up tomorrow with your pickaxe and your plunger. We're going to put you to work.
right. We got some work to do. Yeah, call them out on it. Right. Yeah.
So there's a lot to discuss today that's been in the news. We were over at Trump Tower last week. We didn't get to get that video up there.
Yeah, we got to do that. And a couple good videos. We saw the big man himself briefly there. Tune in. Maybe next
sure
week we'll get
did.
something up. Yeah.
We sure did.
Got to get that
The
up.
one
on
and
there.
only.
The one and only.
Yeah. And we saw a lot on the news and the days after. We were there just in time. The place was mobbed.
Yeah. It's interesting
Soon
how we
after
were
that.
there right before everything went down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at this. What do
And
we got
so-
here?
We have this indictment that has taken place. And I love how everybody's become a lawyer all of a sudden reading this stuff, right?
Oh, sure.
They're all talking about the legal process and this is what's going on over here. Seriously. I hear a lot of these are not supposed to be felonies. I hear a lot of this indictment is garbage. This the indictment that was released is so light and it's weak.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I agree, but unfortunately, this is something that we see. I should be very precise about what I say because
Right.
I don't like when people are not. But
Yeah, I'm
what I
ready.
do agree with is that the indictment isn't very specific, right?
Mhm.
It'd be very difficult to figure out what exactly they're claiming the crime is based upon that. In Pennsylvania, you'll see the criminal information is what it's called. And a lot of times they'll do something very similar where they'll just lay out the elements of the crime.
Okay.
That's all they'll do. Nothing specific to the case itself. They'll just lay out the elements of the crime. And that doesn't help you understand with what you are being charged, the reasons you're being charged. So something that Rich and I will often do in these situations when we get these garbage informations being filed is we'll file a motion for bill of particulars, which is asking for them to requesting the court to require them to state with particularity the who, what, when, where, and how, right? So if you're saying that they communicated a threat directly or indirectly for terroristic threats, let's say.
Yeah.
Okay. How did they communicate a threat? What was the threat? Where was this? When did this take place? Because unless you fill all that stuff in, how am I supposed to defend this charge?
Right. Yeah.
I thought the interesting thing was that the prosecutor's response when somebody mentioned that to him was, well, legally we're
have
not
to or
required to
something,
do
right?
so. Yeah. Which I'm not a New York lawyer, so I don't know if that type of thing is specific enough under New York law. It would seem that constitutionally you would have issues because you're right to be on notice of what you're being charged.
Well, isn't it true though?
Crimes for which you're being charged.
Isn't it true though now in New York that the law is at the full discretion of the state? Like whatever
do
they
you
want
mean?
it to be that day, like if the
Whatever they
state-
want it to be that day.
It sounded
Actually,
That's
it totally
practical,
makes
that
sense that you reacted that way because it makes no
I
sense.
was like,
right?
what are you talking about? So another thing though is
Yeah.
that everybody was interested in what is the second crime because that is really what this case comes down to, right?
Mhm.
What is the second crime? Because that's how they were able to get this in within the statute of limitations, from what I understand. So this whole case is going to turn on that, yet they didn't identify in that indictment the second crime. And so Rusty Shackelford says, why is bill of particulars not required? Because if the information is specific enough, it would not be necessary. Really, what you're saying by requesting the bill of particulars is you're saying you have not been particular enough, right?
Mhm.
Please
Yeah.
state with particularity what you
Yeah.
mean by X, Y, and Z to put you on adequate notice.
I mean, it seems like it would
if
be
they
some
are
sort
specific
of
enough,
basic
then you
requirement.
wouldn't need something like that. But with the second crime not being identified, they started to ask the prosecutor about this, and I don't know if he's just trying to sandbag the defense or if he's doing this strategically. But it's sort of, he kept referring back to, well, I mentioned a number of different things at the beginning of my speech, and then he ultimately said to the reporter who was asking the question something along the lines of, well, what it felt like he was saying, I'm not going to say that he said this, but
Mhm.
what it felt like he was saying was, I don't know, we'll figure something out. What's the second crime?
That's what I gathered.
don't know. It's got to be something. We'll figure
We know
something
there's
out.
something. We'll figure that out.
That's the exact feeling I got too. It sounded like I don't have something now, but I'm certainly gonna find it in the next few months. Don't worry about it.
Right.
I
Exactly.
don't know.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. We'll come
Yeah.
up with something.
You know, there's something. Everybody knows there's something. It's Trump, right? You know, there'll probably be another one after that. Yeah.
Jeremy says, sorry, I'm late. Just finished listening to Brenda Hess speak to the CCRC for endorsement for Berwick MDJ. I'll say this about Brenda Hess. I have worked across from her. She's one of the prosecutors out in Columbia County. And as I understand, the elected official, Tom Leipold, is not running again. Now, Tom is a very, very good prosecutor in the sense that he's an honorable man. From the cases I've dealt, I've had to work against him over the years. A very reasonable guy. He's not somebody who's looking to win for the sake of winning, right?
Mhm,
And he's got a sense of justice about him. And I'd even go as far as saying that if you can't come to a reasonable agreement with Tom, then you're not being reasonable. And it's not a case that ever would have been worked out. Now,
Gotcha.
Brenda has been on his team for quite some time, and I've worked across from Brenda as well. And right along those lines, I know Brenda to be an honorable person and good at her job. So it'll be interesting to see if she ultimately gets that role as the MDJ. I don't know how many cases I'm going to be getting dismissed at prelims with the former prosecutor as the MDJ. But you don't have to be a lawyer for that position as MDJ. So
It's interesting how that works.
yeah, she's going to be more familiar with the legal aspects. I'd
Yeah,
probably
that's
feel more comfortable making a legal argument
right.
to somebody like Brenda Hess than somebody who's a non-lawyer.
Mhm. Seems like it should
Jeremy
be a
says she's
a
extremely
prerequisite.
qualified. Yeah. Be interesting. You should run for MDJ. Why not? You don't have to be a lawyer.
Yeah, why not?
I could
Maybe
see
I'll-
you going out there in a robe.
Yeah, sure. Order in the court.
Yeah. Well, you were there that day when I was playing the judge for the
Yes.
law students, remember?
I have some video of that. We should, if we could. I don't know if we could. Maybe we couldn't, but play it on the show. Yeah,
That's funny.
that was good. Yeah, it was the bailiff, right? Yeah, the bailiff.
With how insanely woke
Mhm.
law school has become over the
Mhm.
last, I don't know. I'm going to sound like an old man because I feel like it was just yesterday I was in law school, which it
Right.
obviously was not,
Right.
but it's become incredibly militantly left.
Most
And-
most institutions have.
Yeah.
Right? We just lost
Yeah.
half the beer in the country.
We may have a law student who's graduating this year come on to talk about some of this stuff right
Hmm.
after graduation because it's insane what is going on at these places.
That would be good. Yeah, that'd be great.
But I was just hoping nobody found out who we were, Chris, when we were over.
Right.
At the
I
law
remember
school.
you sort of saying something to me at some point.
Yeah, please don't mention anything.
Right. Yeah.
Because it all takes is one of these kids to Google and say,
Yeah.
"Oh, well, they said something nice about Trump, so they're a bunch of racists and
Right.
all this stuff." And
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
you had some
yeah.
racist come to our law school because he said something nice about Trump. We can't point to a specific racist thing that this guy's Donner said.
Yeah, I
but-
sort of caught myself at one point too, though. I think you sort of pulled me back in because it was that one person that was talking to me and asking what you do. And, I was with you, so I'm often honored to say that I'm a small part of the
yeah,
show. And I started saying something. I was like, oh, wait a minute. Where am I?
yeah. I'm like giving you the
Yeah, right.
giving you the high sign over there.
Get out of town.
Yeah, get out of town. This Chris guy, yeah, he's always joking around. Last week he was telling people we were in the movies together.
That's right. You work in the White House.
There's no
Yeah.
such thing as there's no such thing as MikeGinthemorning.com.
Don't look at it. Don't check it out.
Do not go to MikeGinthemorning.com. Whatever you do, you'll get it's a terrible websites it's got all kinds of malware on it and
Yeah.
stuff. You don't want to go there. Your
Are you
computer
into ASMR?
your computer will explode and peanut butter will pop out of it if you go to MikeGinthemorning.com. Don't fall for that trick.
Yeah, you can have a bowl of mustard.
He's gotten people with that trick before.
But it is, it's really crazy, man, how just it's so bad now because you get into even the most basic of conversations with people and it becomes an issue,
DG says something about Hershey's involved now. I heard about the Bud Light stuff. Like Kid Rock was shooting the Bud Light cans.
Yeah, that was pretty
'cause
wild.
They promoted a transgender person.
I think it's the same one that's involved
The one dressed
with
up. It was now this is one of the people dressed up like a child, right? Is that what it was all about?
Something like that. I don't know. This week was a little crazy for me. So it's like so much going on in the news again. I'm a little behind on things,
What
to be
is
honest with
the
you, but
major issue? Because they don't start shooting up products when Caitlyn Jenner, let's say, goes out there and endorses something, right?
not as
believe-
much, it seems like. Yeah.
I
So
believe the story behind that was there was a commercial where this trans individual was I guess pretending to this person didn't know what March Madness was, or claimed to not know, and thought, oh, it's just a stressful month, and oh, it's actually about sports, and was just acting like kind of an idiot.
Well, Candace Owen was talking about it a little bit, and I thought she made a good point, because she was basically, when you watch the video of that individual, it's kind of like the negative version of what, like almost like the stereotypical, what you would think of as a stereotypical female, like, oh, I don't know about this, I don't know about that, and blah blah.
And
Which I don't know that that's really a positive image for women.
Hmm.
And what if you're trans?
I
okay,
thought it
I'm
was
not here
like
to judge
I
anyone,
thought the whole
and-
reason they were upset is because there was like some childlike aspect to it.
Oh, okay. Wasn't unaware of that, but that would be interesting in a
That's-
negative way. Yeah,
that's what I
leave the
thought.
children out of it. There's too much of that.
Liberty,
going on.
you usually know all this stuff.
Yeah, where's Liberty at? Come to the rescue, Liberty.
From what I saw on Twitter,
Hmm.
it was more against just the trans community. I don't know. It must be deeper because I did watch the video and I actually didn't focus in on it this week. I've been watching all Trump, literally 24/7. I download the Fox.
We got to
News
play
app
that
to
Kid
follow
Rock.
Trump. But yeah, the Kid Rock was wild. I was actually stunned when I saw him do that because I said, "Oh my gosh, are they going to take this as an act of like
As like a
Well,
terrorist or
violence or
violence
something like that.
towards the
Plus,
trans
it was
community?"
Yeah.
I think that was a full auto
I'm
MP5,
curious as
right,
to
Mike?
what
Is that
the-
it was?
I'm
So-
curious. I just heard about it. I didn't see it, but I'm just
Hmm.
curious about
I
what the uproar is about because this is certainly not something that's new or different this day and age, right?
Mhm.
Well, they definitely weren't upset that it was an assault rifle. He basically
No.
Yeah, no, I know-
I'm
I
not
know what
talking
you're
about him. I'm saying the uproar about the whole
Yeah, right.
sponsorship to begin with, because you have
I get
a
it.
bunch of different artists. Like I think Travis Tritt said that they will
Yep.
not be selling Anheuser-Busch products on his tour, and we're seeing things like this. So I'm curious about
Right.
what the uproar is about.
From what I'm gathering, it honestly, they just seem that they're upset that it's using a trans, that they went woke sort of, but I'm trying to find out if it was a kid thing, it would make more sense why he went so crazy in the video,
I thought there was like this Blues Clues style video that was released.
Normally, I can find exactly what it is on Twitter. All I'm getting is people saying, like, backlashing at him, like they're saying, he's horrible
Rock?
for doing it. Yeah, like basically everybody's
Gotcha.
tweeting at him, like they're go woke. They're mad, they're upset over Kid Rock. They're making fun of him. I'm not getting any like serious story that came out as to why. I think it's just because they used a transgender model. I'm not quite sure.
That can't be though.
I know, that's what I'm trying to figure out
That
what's deeper.
can't be.
What's that? They can't what, Mike?
That can't be it.
I missed what it
In
was.
2023, with all the trans stuff that's been promoted by corporations and
I'll
everything
find
like
out. Hold
that, why would this be something that's different? Why would this
Like,
be
Fox
something that sets
News-
people off?
Fox News' headline is Kid Rock shoots up Bud Light cans with rifle to protest Dylan Mulvaney partnership. So Dylan Mulvaney must be the issue here. So I'm trying to find what's about Dylan Mulvaney. He must
what
be
I
very
thought.
controversial.
I thought there was a Blues
was on,
Clues
like,
style video where it
He
had
was
to
on
do
the-
with
He's the one that was on The Price is Right. Did you guys ever see that? I think it was not The Price, the Wheel of Fortune or something. And he actually was on stage and then had this whole moment. And then later came out trans. And then did a bunch of videos, I think, over the past few years that got noticed for whatever reason. And then he started getting sponsorships, or she, I should say, whatever. But,
Okay. So here in the Fox News article it says the announcement that Mulvaney, a transgender woman who recently had surgery done on her face to make her appear more feminine, was named as a partner for Bud Light, angered scores of users online. Among them was Rock, who posted a video to social media of him using a rifle to rip through the cases of beer. See, I'm not getting anything deeper. I think I'd have to do a little bit more research to
I think
see.
it's called
You know what's
Childhood Dream
interesting?
Unlocked.
What?
Russ, why don't you see if you could get that? Why don't you see if you could Google Childhood Dream Unlocked Dylan Mulvaney? I'm pretty
I
sure this
found the
is what
Bud Light
people are
commercial.
upset about. Chris, is that you?
What's wrong?
Yeah, that's crackly Chris.
That's Chris.
Yeah.
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 Did it go away there? Sorry.
People are going to feel like they're listening to this program on a record player. That's what it sounds like.
I'm trying to go old school over here. All right, I'm getting
Yeah.
got to get a new mic by next week here.
Jeremy says there's a headline from DW of transgender person arrested for planning to shoot up a school.
Can someone drop it in the dock?
Defiland.
You know what's crazy is that usually it's right up. It's almost like they're trying to create such a, like Chris always says, such a tense thing.
Go to
because you can't-
GOO. Hold on. I got to help Russ with his job.
Yeah.
Okay.
The GOOGLE.com.
Hmm.
Oh, for goodness sake, Mike.
Just type in Dylan Mulvaney child video and scroll down.
I'm looking through the chat a little bit here.
And then, oh, there you go. Isn't that amazing, Russell?
Shut
Oh,
up,
look at
Mike.
that.
Yeah, it's TikTok. Smelly, gross TikTok.
I'm a city child. I live at the Plaza Hotel, which is huge and wonderful and très elegant, especially at Christmas time.
Yeah, so I think that
yeah,
was
great job, Mike. That was definitely it.
It was
That wasn't the full-
100%.
It looked like it.
This is 2
It's
week
the
old.
TikTok version. I bet you that has
A gazillion views.
more views than anything else. Yeah.
Probably. I think it'd be interesting. Maybe we should have someone on the show who is trans, because I've talked to some people who are, and I don't know that they're fully on board with a lot of this stuff either. They're kind of pushing this whole narrative that isn't, I think, what it really is like to experience that life, and it's being shoved down the throats of both sides, I think.
Hmm.
For political purposes. There's so many things that they're just trying to use to divide everybody up. And this is a bit, a very large issue right now in our country that's being used against people on both sides, I think.
But even further, I mean, I literally just spent the minute you guys were talking, trying to find an article like against Dylan Mulvaney, and I can't find anything. It's all praise from the left for him. Budweiser standing by him. So I'm not seeing the whole Balenciaga. I'm not seeing anything related to that besides that video posted. So I don't know. They're just basically saying that the right is just reacting to the fact that they used him over music boycotts. After Kid Rock, another star musician boycotts Bud Light over transgender ads. So.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so it's almost like they're trying to create such a anger.
Well, depending on where you search, the search results are being.
Well, I looked up Dylan Mulvaney, trying to find Dylan Mulvaney controversy. It's being suppressed possibly because they just want it to look like the right is up in arms over nothing, just the fact that he's on there, right? That's what it kind of seems like, right, Philly Chris?
I think so, yeah.
That maybe they're manipulating it so it's just like the right is acting transphobic. That's what seems like they're trying to do.
Yeah, I don't know that that's as big of an issue. There's people out there who are, but I think most people just want to let everybody do their own thing, and it's not our place to judge, like we were talking about earlier. Just let people live their life and do what they want to do. You can have your opinion, but to truly judge them.
Possibly because Bud Light is such a. This one article is making me think.
It used to be an American company,
well,
but
it's
hijacked a long time ago. Yeah.
Right, but it's such a just known. It's just such a brand for
Mhm.
America. A lot of people in the country drink
I'm a
Bud
little
Light.
I'm a little surprised they got
Love-
into the whole I mean,
A
I
lot of right
remember-
folks drink it, you know. So it's kind of like when the NFL went
Yeah, right.
woke. I think maybe it's just more broad. I don't know. But go ahead.
I agree. I mean, why would you open yourself up to that? I remember specifically when I went to business school, you know, which a couple hundred years ago. But you know, we talked about it. Like, just stay out of politics. Why would you isolate half of your consumers? Why would
Right.
you try to do that?
And I think what the left usually says is it's not just me being me is not political. Just me being a transgender person is not political. You know what I mean? I think that's what they're trying to say. And I think that the right and other people are saying, hey, this is going too far, you know? But yeah, what do you guys think of the Kid Rock video? Did you guys think it was a little
Yeah,
extreme?
what do you think, Mike? I wanted to hear what Mike thought of that. Yeah.
Thought about what?
Like the Kid Rock video.
Kid Rock video, did you guys think it was extreme?
I didn't see it. I told you I didn't see it. I just heard
Oh,
about
you
it.
haven't seen it? I'm
Um,
sorry.
Oh,
We
I
should-
sent it
we
to you
should play
guys.
it. We
and
should
I don't quite understand. I don't know enough about the situation to talk about it because I don't understand. I'm trying to figure out what exactly is the root of
Mhm.
why people are flipping out. So,
I think they put him on one of the cans.
I know,
So,
but
yeah.
that can't be it, right?
I-
And they put Caitlyn Jenner on the
So-
front of like ESPN magazine and stuff, like as Woman of the Year. and,
Well, actually,
and people didn't start did that really?
shooting.
This is like years ago.
I'm actually just reading this article that's saying she actually had a meeting. This person is a trans activist, and they met with President Joe Biden to discuss recent anti-trans legislation passed in Republican-ruled states. Following this, she was consistently been a target of right-wing vitriol and abuse. Shortly after Mulvaney's sit down with Biden, Senator Marsha Blackburn tweeted out a video of Mulvaney and wrote, Dylan Mulvaney, Joe Biden and radical left-wing lunatics want to make this absurdity normal. So this person is in talks with Joe Biden. So I don't know.
Anyhow,
yeah.
anything else for the good of the order?
I'm good. Thanks, brother.
Liberty?
I don't think so. I think more just Trump stuff, but I think we heard your take on it.
I'm going to continue on with Trump. Call it a night.
Well,
Call
I
it a night.
saw earlier that there was supposed to be Trump was supposed to make remarks at some point.
I think at 8:15 he was going to go live tonight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tonight? I thought it was I thought it was Tuesday.
Thought that he was going to do something tonight.
That
I just saw it
that
today,
tweet, that I think Russ sent over
I didn't
said,
send-
"I'm heading back to Mar-a-Lago," which would have been Tuesday when he was leaving New York.
Hmm.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah,
that
he
was
went back to
sent
Marla.
and it says 13 minutes.
Yeah, he might be doing another rally.
That's when Chris sent it or took
Mm.
the shot.
My concern, because it seemed like
It would have been it's probably a screenshot that was tweeted out or something like that.
Yeah, I sent something earlier. I
Oh.
thought it was today, but maybe I misunderstood.
I can't imagine that he's out talking again 2 days later. Can you imagine being that guy's
I
defense
can.
attorney? It's like, bro, shut up. Just
But-
stay home, please.
but he's
Here
got
it
to
is. It says,
continue.
just lifted off for Palm Beach, Florida. We'll be delivering remarks tonight at Mar-a-Lago at 8:15 Eastern. The hearing was shocking to many in that they
Yeah.
had no surprises and therefore no case. Virtually every
That
legal
sounds like
pundit-
that sounds like
Yeah.
he's talking on Tuesday, doesn't it?
Yeah, that was Tuesday.
Okay, could be.
Yeah, but
2-day-old news.
how the big question is, how is he going to continue campaigning with these cases pending, and how is he going to handle that? But I think they're
That's the
kind
point.
well, I know, but I think I was very fired up the day before it happened, and then after seeing it and after everything that's gone on, and I know he can beat it, but there's other cases, but I felt very heavy because I was just like, it's literally like a boxing match where they're just trying to wear their opponent down. They're just trying to wear him down. How can you keep fighting? But he is a fighter, so I do think he could beat it. But he's a symbol. Like, he's representing, if you let these people get out of control, this is what they can do. Whether or not he's perfect, of course, you could probably find a crime for anybody. But the fact that they're doing it, it really is scary. I mean, I don't know.
All I could say is they better have the goods. If they do not have enough to back this up, really, the only thing that's going to stop it from continuing is if a bunch of Democrats, right? You see the Clintons and perhaps the Bidens and all these other Democrat politicians being charged in state courts on various things with information that's already out there. And I don't know that we want to go down that road in this country where, whoever wins an election and the other party just gets picked off one by one.
Yeah, it's gotten that bad. It really has.
And some people are saying, well, everybody should be held accountable to follow the law. That's true. But when you have as many laws that are on the books today, you can really get creative with bringing criminal charges that deal with it every day.
Yeah, there was a book,
in our
Eric.
practice, where we see these charges that are stretched.
What's that one book called? You'll remember. I wonder if Eric Petroni gave you a copy as well, Mike. But Eric Petroni gave me a copy of a book one time, and I think it was called like 3 Felonies a Day or something. Have you seen that book?
Oh no, I've heard of it, but
I still have to read it. But apparently, the way that, like you said, the way the laws are in the code, it's like most people break the law like 3 times a day or whatever.
Wow. Plus a DA saying, "I will get you." I mean, it's just, to me, it's crazy. I mean, it's just like a third world country, literally.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel bad. To be honest, I feel bad for him. I actually feel bad. It turned from like being upset to feeling bad.
I think it's probably going to be one of the worst things the left ever did, because
Yeah.
it's just going to get more people to rally behind him. I think he'll still be the next president, as I've said.
Yeah.
I think that, they just can't stop themselves, and it's the political machine, and it's by design. So pull my string. There you go.
Hey, we've got a soon. Hopefully, we've got a soon guest who's checking in over here with a wave. Scotty45.
Hey now, Scotty.
Hey now. He's the stories on that guy. I've never had the opportunity to do a long form interview with him, talk about his life and everything. I've had him on to talk about certain particular topics because extremely knowledgeable man. But I've never had the opportunity to do the sit down with him, where we get his full story, learn more about him rather than the knowledge that's in his head. So we got to do that soon.
That sounds good.
But that'll have to wait for another day. That's all the time we've got for today. Stick around for We the People, the Constitution Matters. Pastor David Whitney, Professor Phil Duffy. Hold on. We're doing this wrong. We have to introduce Russ to how we roll. When he left, we got this all figured out. So
Denise, that was a prediction, by the way.
Oh, that's good.
What's that?
Sorry, I was
a
trying
prediction. What was
Denise,
the
that
prediction?
was a prediction. I think that Trump will be the next president. I'm assuming that's what you meant, but
Well, if he beats this thing, right, everybody's going to have Trump mugshot T-shirts walking around.
right.
It's just going to be nuts.
Think of the marketing. It's going to be the best marketing
It's
ever.
gonna
What other
be
president has ever
nuts.
been arrested for the American people, right?
Yeah.
Not only that, but I think every piece of this indictment thing is just going to end up being B-roll for his campaign commercials.
Oh, yeah.
But my true concern is, once it's kind of like a funeral, when everybody goes home after somebody dies and you're left alone, right? It's all excitement, and everybody goes home and lives their life and you're stuck. Like, it's all exciting now. The Republicans are raising money. Lindsey Graham's going crazy on television raising money for Trump. what happens, like just Mike said, like when the lawyer's like, hey, keep your mouth shut, go about your life. Are we all going to forget about it? Is he just going to be, if he's not allowed to campaign?
Yeah, because if you look at the deadlines that were set for this,
Mm-hmm.
I think they're December for the written motions. So
That'll be
see.
interesting. Yeah, I guess it's complicated, but we'll see.
We'll see.
December 4th, January 2024, they're trying for, I think.
What is that?
Constitution Matters, Pastor Dave Whitney, Professor Philadelphia. I'll be joining as your legal analyst. We miss you, Ellie. Daddy loves you.